And we are live, Mr. Bruce Man.
Yo, what up, dude?
It has been a crazy week, but I get to sit here and scream at my Zoom on my monitor about sports for an hour. So I'm excited.
Nice. I get to sit here and drink my fiance's.
You really took one of those.
Yeah, I did.
Used
Jamaican
it.
me happy. That's Jamaican me happy. Look at that.
I'm disappointed in you.
The pink drink. I don't have any more of. I don't have any more of my drinks. So, if there is a brewery listening,
Yes.
you are more than welcome to throw some love this way.
Please do.
You will be treated well.
You will be treated with the utmost respect.
Oh, MJ.
Really, just send us money, please.
Happy Thursday, dude.
Thank you.
Hope everything's going well with you.
Yes, sir.
Dude.
Can I announce my news?
Yes, please. By all means, get after it.
So I've been promoted, I guess you could say. I'm taking on a new project. I am going to be, it was official as of Monday. I am the head of social media for Primetime Sports Talk, which is a fantastic website full of NFL, MLB, NBA, NHL, betting, DFS, NASCAR, all of the sports content that you could ever want. So I am running all of their social media. I'm going to be heading up their new YouTube channel, heading up their TikTok, all of that good stuff. So if there's anybody out there who needs any writing opportunities or any of that, wants to start their own show or anything like that, we have all of those opportunities there. So I'm taking on a lot of big projects there. So if I look a little tired, that's probably why. But it's a lot of fun. It's what I love doing. So yeah, that's my news.
Congratulations on that. And it's fun. It's awesome.
It's a lot of fun. And, I enjoy the TikTok. I enjoy the Twitterverse. So,
what's a TikTok?
What? TikTok, tic-tac-toe, all that good stuff.
That's awesome. So speaking of being tired, I was actually going to bring this up. I was thinking about this the other day when I was on my way to work. I was like, man, because I always have a lot of energy in the morning right away as soon as I get up.
Yeah.
Frankly, it's quite annoying. So right when I wake up in the morning, I'm not as energetic yet. Give me about half a cup of coffee in, then boom, we're good to go. We're ready. Like we're hitting it hard and getting after it. And it's quite annoying to some people, and I understand it. But I was also thinking to myself, like, what would happen if we had a morning show? Obviously, I can't do it because I work. But
a Saturday, we could do like a Saturday morning radio show.
That'd be kind of cool. But
would anybody really wake up to watch that though? Probably not. But
no, not at all. I would just barely, because my Fridays when I'm not coaching, my Fridays are my days to have a drink in my hand, as Eric Church would say.
Yes.
So yeah. But anyways, so we're going down a rabbit hole
that's fine.
But hey man, so I do have to tell you.
Yes.
At the beginning of the year, and the record doesn't reflect it, but at the beginning of the basketball season, I may have mentioned to Rob about the Chicago Bulls that they are going to. I think the Bulls are a 7-8 seed.
Okay.
Mostly 8. Like, I feel confident in saying 8. I won't say 7.
I'll give you that.
And after watching the last about a week and a half, 2 weeks, I'm really starting to like what I'm seeing from that team.
Yeah.
Only because there's one particular player on that team that is a piece to build around.
Yes.
And that man is Zach LaVine.
You want your highlights now?
Oh, we could. I don't know. I don't know if you can hear the puppy. The puppy's even starting.
The puppy's excited for the highlights too.
Her name's Lady. I mean, like the lady is but she's very excited. It's okay, sweetie. Yeah, we can run those. Let's run them, buddy. Let's run them.
And go, Bruce.
And going. All right. So in this guy's last 5 games, he's respectively had 37 points against the Detroit Pistons. Well, obviously that wasn't very good. If you watch that game, they were down by 25, and they ended up coming back to win that game, mainly because Zach LaVine got after it, got angry, and ended up telling a defender, I can't remember who, a Jackson, I think it was, to get the F out of there because he got a foul after Zach LaVine stole the ball from Jackson, and then Jackson fouled him right away. And then lo and behold, Zach LaVine said, "Get the F out of here." It was awesome. It was that type of aggression that you want to see from a type A guy like Zach LaVine is turning into. Going on from that, they played the Pacers where he dropped 30 points. And then before that, they played the Clippers. He got 26. Against the Pelicans, he had 38. I'm sorry, excuse me, 46. And then against the Washington Wizards, he had 35. Sorry. Can't see, getting old. But the biggest thing that I want to take away from that was in those games, his shooting percentage never dropped below 44%. While, yes, the Pacers, they had Sabonis guarding him, and Sabonis is actually a really, really good defender. Statistically, I don't have anything in front of me to tell you about it and be like, yeah, these are the numbers to prove my point.
Yeah.
Just from the eye test, watching him play, basically he's that gnat that's a huge pain in the ass guarding you. And I think he did a really good job on Zach LaVine. Zach LaVine just had more offense in that game. If you guys watched it, Zach LaVine ended up swacking a 3 to force an overtime game, or to bring. I think it was overtime, and it was overtime. But I'm gonna tell you something right now. That man is an absolute stud. I don't think you trade him. I think you try to keep him and build around him. But that's only if the Bulls' plan is to win in the next 3 to 5 years.
I would hope it is.
That's it. That's it. Well, I don't disagree with you, but that's the plan. If they have the plan to win more, like sooner rather than later, keep him because right now he is. Let's see, he's covered for this year and next year.
Yep.
After that, he can go for a max contract because he hasn't been in the NBA 10 years yet. I think it's 10 years. It's either 10 years in the NBA or 10 years on a team that you can be offered a supermax. I think it's 10 years in the NBA that you can be offered the supermax.
So he can get 5 and 180 right now.
Right now, 5 and 180, correct. 100%. I would totally throw that money at him, and because jumping off the point of how many he's averaging this year.
He's averaging like 27, shooting 40% from 3. His numbers are ridiculous.
He's just like the biggest takeaway right now that people should understand about Zach LaVine is he's increased his statistical numbers across the board. If you want to go to advanced metrics on his shooting and efficiency ratings, they're up all across the board as well. I don't think you get rid of him. I think you hold on to him and see what he can do. The problem is, and I heard a really good point today about Zach LaVine. The argument's going to come from people that are going to say he can't win and he's not a one guy. He's not like the main guy.
Okay.
The problem is he's a one guy, but he doesn't have a 2 right now. That's the main thing right now.
Yeah.
That's my thought process. And I liked what I saw earlier last year from Kobe White, but and I said something idiotic. Don't repeat it. I said something about him. However, in the old school NBA, there was known as a sophomore slump. Does it still exist? I don't know. You're seeing a lot more guys now not have it. And I think it's partially to do with the fact that they do a way better job with body recovery and whatever.
Yeah,
but
that's true.
They do a great job, and the nutritionists and all that stuff. It's way better than what it was. But anyway, to continue with what I was saying, though, I really think that they should never get rid of Zach LaVine. I think that there's potential for him to be and I'm going to say it, top 5 MVP type guy. Maybe not this year, because he right now there's not. Actually, I'll say this: Zach LaVine might have better numbers than your boy Luka.
Ooh, now I want to look.
Oh, that was a good little pop right there. But don't get me wrong, I still love Luka. but he may have better numbers than Luka. At the same time, though, I just think that the Bulls should keep him. I think that he has potential to be a top 5 MVP type guy, and they should build around him.
So my question to you, Bruce, then is, we talked last week about our MVP candidates, right?
Oh, here he comes with it.
And I'm gonna ask you the question: if you are the Chicago Bulls, would you rather have Zach LaVine or Luka Doncic?
Ooh.
And the fact that I made you think means that Luka is not as good as people are asking. The fact that I made you think, because if I said, would you rather have Zach LaVine or LeBron James, you would not hesitate. You would say LeBron.
And that's fair.
And the fact that I made you hesitate proves my point.
Hold on. I'm going to do let's do a quick comp. So can you speak to that, please? I'm going to do a quick comp right now, and I'm going to take a look at it right now.
So I've been talking about Luka for the last couple of weeks, and I talked about him about a month ago. And I would like to put this out there, that first and foremost, I am not hating on Luka. The same way that when I talk about Tom Brady, I have nothing against them as human beings. They're incredible talents. For those of you on TikTok watching this clip, no, I could never do what Luka Doncic or Tom Brady are doing. I'm comparing them to the national conversation. I don't like the national conversation behind Tom Brady. I don't like the national conversation around Luka Doncic right now. Can he do things on a basketball court that some people cannot do? Yes. Watching him and Dame go at it the other night was absolutely incredible. That was one of the best games I've watched in a long time, watching them go at it in crunch time. But let's look at some comparisons here, because people have been talking Luka versus LeBron. So this year, Luka's averaging 29, his true shooting is 58, and his usage rate is 36%. His usage rate last year was 37, so that's a pretty consistent number now that he is fairly established. LeBron this year, averaging 26, 60% true shooting, and 31 usage. So LeBron is almost averaging the same numbers as Luka, except he doesn't have to have the ball in his hands as much because he's much more efficient. So my biggest issue with Luka Doncic right now, he's absolutely an amazing player. Don't get me wrong. If I was starting a franchise, would he be top 10? Yes. But comparing him to LeBron James, when what LeBron has been doing is so incredibly consistent, something that I've noticed in the last couple days when looking at all of this is it appears that the media recently has been looking for new guys to jump on. They've gotten tired of LeBron, even though LeBron is number one in odds for winning the MVP, which I think is ridiculous. We'll get to that in a second. But like Giannis is averaging the same numbers he averaged last year, his second consecutive MVP and Defensive Player of the Year. His defensive numbers are better, and yet people are putting Luka over Giannis, and Luka's team is not winning.
So MJ, I just did a quick thing right now. If you don't mind me interrupting, I apologize. So, Basketball Reference has a stat, and then they're able to do this, and it's called value over replacement. It's the same thing as WAR.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But it's for the NBA. And honestly, this is pretty insane. So just to give viewers a idea of what it is, it's a box score estimate of the points per 100 team possessions that a player contributed over a replacement level player, translated to an average team and prorated to an 82-game season.
Yes.
Okay. So right now, Luka Doncic's value over replacement player is 11.1. Okay, so that's cool. Like, whatever. That's fine. This season, yes. Yeah. Currently, this season, it's 11.1. So, do you want to know what LeBron James' value over replacement player is right now? If you could throw out a number, just throw out a number. What do you think it would be?
16.
136. 136. So there is a reason why that man right now is being considered the MVP. And to be honest with you, I didn't even think it was going to be that high. When I saw 136, my first thought was, holy shit, as well. So I think that the odds right now for MVP, let's let everyone know what they are. Currently, LeBron James is a plus 175, the hands-on favorite. After that, second, Joel Embiid, who's having a monster year. Actually, I'm kind of curious to see what his...
I was going to say, can you look at Embiid and Jokic?
Yeah, I can look at that right now. Here, let me finish this real quick.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, guys. It went LeBron plus 175, Joel Embiid at plus 500, Nicola at plus 625, Steph Curry at plus 11. I'm sorry, Luka Doncic at plus 1050, and Steph Curry at plus 1100. So right now, LeBron James is an absolute insane person at every level. We already knew that. Hold up. Let's check a look at. And by the way, it was an absolute joke for me to compare Zach LaVine to Luka Doncic too. So to answer your question, Luka.
Yes. However, that's why part of the reason I wanted to make that comparison is because on paper, Zach LaVine and Luka are not incredibly far apart. On paper, you look at points, you look at shooting percentage. Zach LaVine's shooting 40% from three, and Luka's shooting 30. I think he might be up to like 32 or 33 now. But so before you give the 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 VAR comparison, I just want to compare like the pure numbers from what Jokic and Embiid are doing, because
The box, like
it
the
is
newspaper.
historic
You're
what
talking
they
about the
are doing.
newspaper numbers. Newspaper numbers.
Yes.
That's what I like to say. I like to
Yeah,
say
box score numbers, right? So Nikola Jokic, 27.4 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, 8.6 assists per game from a center, 1.6 steals. This man is shooting 40% from three, and he's shooting four a game. So it's not like he's throwing up one a game. He's shooting the same percentage from three that Zach LaVine is, 61 from the field. His true shooting is 65.6%. To give you context, Steph Curry's is 60 this season.
that's pretty nasty.
That's what Nikola Jokic is doing.
So all right, so I got the
give
numbers.
me his VAR.
I got the numbers for Joel Embiid real quick. 12. That's it. And mind you, and I'm gonna keep, and I want you to understand too, and I want our viewers to understand that this is this season. This is not
Right.
during the career. This is this season. So right now, Joel Embiid's value over replacement is only a 12, according to Basketball Reference and or StatHead.com.
So that's basically
Giannis,
the same as Luka.
right, and Giannis, and he was another guy that I wanted to take a look at as well. Giannis is actually at 32.4.
Okay, so he's significantly
Higher,
Yeah.
but LeBron is like,
wow.
wow, exactly. But
Huh. So then what is Jokic?
that's a good question too.
Because I would imagine Jokic has to be more LeBron level. Because of all of his passing and everything else he does that Embiid doesn't do. Jokic has to be higher.
Let's see. So let's take a look, see for you guys, so that way we can give you guys some accurate information that makes us look more intelligent than we really are. 28.8.
Really?
28.8. Averaging. He's dude, yeah.
I thought that would have been much higher, but
He's only averaging 17 points a game. I mean, from like I said, again,
Jokic?
newspaper stats. Yeah.
I thought he was averaging 27. What did I look at?
What am I looking at? Yeah,
Which one of us messed up? Hold on.
Probably me. No, 27. What was I looking at?
I don't know what you were looking at. I'm like, he's averaging 27.
So anyways, he's nasty.
And then even Joel Embiid, his numbers are just a tick below Jokic. 29.7 a game, 11 rebounds, 3 assists, a steal, a block, 39.7% from 3, 56 from the field, and 66% true shooting. So I'll give my updated MVP list because we've dug a little bit more into it than we did last week. The way I would rank it, number 5, I would put Damian Lillard, because I think it needs to be understood what he's doing without Yusuf Nurkic and CJ McCollum, because both of them have been out the majority of the season. That roster is good, don't get me wrong, but he's playing with a lineup right now that is Gary Trent Jr., Derek Jones, a very old Carmelo Anthony, and Enes Kanter. Talk about average.
Whoa!
That's
So
what
hold
you.
up.
That's what you have right there.
Hold on. Hold on. Hold on. Hold on.
Hold
Let's
on.
back the truck up. Back the truck up.
Fresh from the presses. What do we got?
Fresh from the press. So not
Fresh
only
from the
can
presses.
not only can I not talk. This is the reason why we need to have a morning show, so that way I don't mess things up.
You right.
So, our producer, which is basically ourselves, gave us some wrong numbers. This year, LeBron's value over replacement is actually a 2.3.
What the hell were you looking at?
I think I was looking at his career. I quit. I'm out.
Also, my camera's not focusing. Hello?
No, you're good. I can see you.
Yeah?
Ta-da.
Okay. I don't know. Yeah, so that proves my freaking point.
This is the hodgepodge that we have on our show.
That proves my point that LeBron should not be in the MVP conversation. I mean, he can be in the conversation, but not top 5.
I don't know, man.
Because all of the people that we mentioned are higher than him.
Truth.
So, again, Dame, MVP, number 5. Number 4, I'm going to go Giannis. He's averaging almost the same numbers as his 2 consecutive MVPs, and people have just seemed to have forgotten about him. I don't know what that's about. He's my number 4. Number 3, I'm going to go Steph Curry. He's averaging the same numbers as his unanimous MVP season. He does not have Klay Thompson. Draymond Green is not up to speed yet. Andrew Wiggins and Kelly Oubre Jr., nobody wanted them. James Wiseman is like a negative 11 average for his plus-minus so far. Incredibly talented, but not there yet. He does not have the roster he had in 2016, and he's putting up the same freaking numbers. He's number 3. Then I give Embiid number 2. Jokic, I give the slight edge at number 1 just because I think the Sixers roster is slightly better, but I'm fine with you flipping 1 and 2.
That's fair. That's fair. So I am gonna go. This is gonna be funny. I don't know. I'm interested in seeing what your freakout's gonna be on this one.
I'm gonna calm myself up. Just
all right. 5, Luka. I dropped him.
Okay.
I dropped him.
Okay.
I did drop him.
I'm okay with that.
I got 4 at Durant. I like Durant a lot. 3.
I'll give him like comeback player or something like that, but not
3, Jokic.
Okay.
I'm gonna go, and keep in mind, I think these are kind of like interchangeable. 1 and 2. It's gonna be so funny. So 2, Embiid. 1, a Mr. LeBron James. I like, dude. Like from the eye test.
Do you guys see the? Do you guys see the? Don't get me wrong, Bruce. I like no doubt LeBron is valuable, but he has another top 10 player with him.
Not right.
None of those other dudes do.
I don't think he's playing very well right now.
You don't think? Anthony Davis is top 10 in player efficiency right now.
Well, Anthony Davis is, but he's also hurt. He's on the sideline. He's been on the sideline for quite a little bit with what was it, leg?
He has an Achilles soreness, but that was a couple weeks ago. That's not been the majority of the season, and LeBron even with that, LeBron is not putting up better numbers than any of those other people.
Again. It's the LeBron James Tom Brady effect, bro.
I'm done.
You better cut that. And I better get a retweet from LeBron and Tom Brady.
Yeah, you mean Tom Brady's LeBron's probably gonna block me on TikTok now.
That's that GOAT talk.
LeBron's gonna block me on TikTok now.
That's that GOAT talk. Oh man, I love it. Oh,
you've got to be kidding. After the discussion we've had for the last 15 minutes, you still put LeBron James number 1.
I mean, honestly,
Bruce, what are you on? What are you on, Bruce?
To like poke you and kind of like just get you
Bruce, what are you on? Because I would love to have some too.
It's just angering you. That's what makes it more entertaining.
And again, it's the same idea that like I don't have a problem with him being in the conversation, but when you ignore Curry, and you ignore what Dame's doing, and you ignore what Giannis is doing.
I don't. Okay, so I think Curry is like 6. Like in my opinion, like 4, 5, 6, 7 are kind of interchangeable
Okay,
guys.
so here's my question, right? If I'm assuming the idea behind you putting LeBron up there is that because his team is winning, right? I would assume
Not
that he's putting up numbers and his team is winning, right? I would assume that's kind of
correct.
they're the two seed. Okay, so my question then would be
But also,
if
I also put around. Okay, I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I also look at it from if I needed someone to win a championship and build around today, like right now, who would it be? And after
so
watching,
you're putting Luka Doncic, who has the 13 and 15 Mavs, who we've agreed has a better roster than Curry does in Golden State,
again,
or than Dame does in Portland, you would take Doncic over those
this is
two who are
very
the
this is
7
a
and 4
very
seeds
fluid
respectively.
list. This is a very fluid list. It could change tomorrow after watching basketball tonight. It's a very fluid list.
So
He's so upset.
I don't understand.
I just like annoying you too. It's kind of fun.
No,
Hold on,
I totally get that, but like,
hold on. I gotta provide our upcoming guest with the information for the show
oh my
because
gosh.
I don't remember if I sent that to him or not.
This is what drives me crazy about people talking about sports is when they and this isn't just you. I'm just going to use you as the catalyst. When people
Wow.
just don't look at numbers, the only number they look at is the win column. And don't get me wrong, basketball is the one sport where I think you can, as a player, single handedly transform the team. I've seen LeBron do it many times. However, I don't think that what LeBron is doing there, obviously, they're probably going to make the Western Conference Finals, but he's had Anthony Davis there for at least the majority, statistically, more than 50% of those games. So I don't find what he's doing or what Kevin Durant is doing with in Brooklyn with now two other superstars. I don't find what those two dudes are doing inherently impressive. I understand if you want to say in Milwaukee, Giannis has Chris Middleton and Drew Holiday, who are
How long?
two top 30 players. I'll give Middleton and Drew Holiday that top 30. I understand if you want to make that argument. I would understand if you want to say, okay, Joel Embiid has Ben Simmons, who is a potential superstar. If that dude could freaking hit even 30% of his threes, he would be almost Giannis, right? But what Steph Curry and what Damian Lillard are doing right now, with not even another top 50, top 75 player in the NBA. Luka has Kristaps, who is perfectly healthy now and averages 20, 10, almost 2 blocks a game, and shoots 35 at least from the field. Okay? So, when you have that, no. Luka should be winning much more. You know, Kristaps, before he got hurt and before he was sent to Dallas, you want to know what his nickname was, Bruce? The Unicorn. Because
Yeah.
what he does is unlike any other. He's 7'3". He dribbles really well for that height, and he can drill 3-pointers. Okay, for 7'3", I'd love to see you be 7'3" and go out there and dribble like that. So
I would love to dribble like that the way I am right now,
yeah,
but I can't.
exactly. So
Did
so
you
what?
just go,
So
yay, yay, yay?
Luca isn't even a playoff team right now, and he has a better player than Dame has beside him. He has a better player than Steph has beside him, and I'll say it, he has a better player than Giannis has beside him. Any of
Dude,
those guys.
let
The
me get
only
you really,
people that can compare on your list are
let me get you really
Embiid
going.
and LeBron.
Let me get you really going real quick before we
Oh
shift gears.
Lord.
Damian Lillard is a better player than Steph Curry. Hey, let's go on with this right here. The weekend is right around the corner, and there are plenty of things going on in Central Illinois to keep you and the family busy, even including getting MJ angry. Whether you're just visiting or you call the heart of Illinois home, Discover Peoria and the Peoria Area Convention and Visitors Bureau has dropped us some information about a few weekly discoveries you won't want to miss. Hey, so did you know today that NASA dropped a some kind of rover on Mars? It's
They
kind of
did.
interesting. Big astronomy live stream. What better way to spend your Thursday, not during our show, than taking a vacation to exotic telescopes in remote reaches of Chile from the comfort of your own home. Every Thursday at 2:30, and I'm assuming that's 2:30 p.m., The Peoria Riverfront Museum is putting on a big astronomy live stream of their newest dome show. This is the way to explore the world-class observatories nestled in northern Chile's mountains and learn why Chile, with its mountain ranges and clear skies, is a great environment for studying the cosmos. You can view a 360 live stream on your mobile device, a desktop computer, or a VR headset. VR headset would be pretty sick. After the show, the planetarium director, Renee Kerrigan, will be answering any space questions you might have, including where Uranus is. Head over to the Peoria Riverfront Museum's website or discover Peoria's event page to learn more about this event.
That was a nice little addition there, Bruce.
Like that?
And second, we have Legally Blonde, the musical. If you're looking for something fun to do this weekend, 5 Points Washington will be putting on Legally Blonde, the musical. There are showtimes throughout the weekend on Friday at 7 p.m., Saturday at 2 p.m., and 7 p.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. All audience members must properly wear a mask the entire time they're in the building, including the entire performance. Temperature checks will also be taken before entrance. Tickets are $15 a person. Head over to the 5 Points Washington website to get yours now.
Awesome. So, just so you know, before you let in our next guest, he can attest to this, and I'm sure he will when he jumps on. I have viewpoints that are counter to what a lot of people say, only because I like seeing what it rises out of them.
Oh, I know. No, trust me.
So,
I've been doing this with you for almost a year, Bruce. I know
fair.
what you do.
It really has almost been a year. So that
Yeah.
being said, if you don't mind, MJ, I'm going to introduce our next guest.
Yes, and I will let him in as you do.
He is our Chicago senior sports baseball analyst. His name is Eric Farrell. What's up, my dog?
What's up, guys?
How's it going, Eric?
Oh, it's going, man. I'm sitting here at the basement of work. This is cool. I'm gonna have a good time doing this with you guys tonight.
Hey, it's all good. It's all good. So
Yeah,
Eric,
props to my coworkers for letting me take a break to do this. I'm stoked.
100%. And the fact that you're even wanting to do this with us, and that's pretty awesome. So it's much appreciated.
Love it, man. Love it.
But hey, man, so we kind of I talked to you a little bit about it yesterday on the phone, about kind of getting your thoughts on a few things. And we'll touch on the Cubs in a second. But first, I want to actually ask you, what are your thoughts right now going for the White Sox this year? And we're always Cubs fans. I'm a Cubs fan, but I'm curious to know what your thoughts are about the White Sox to start off with. Uh-oh.
So I think the big thing right now is the Pacoda thing. The Pacoda thing that just came out with basically the analytics and the projections of them finishing third in their division with, I think it was like 82 or 83 wins.
83 wins.
Actually behind the Cubs, which was a little bit of an eye-opening thing for most people. But, the more I thought about it, the reality is baseball is based around pitching in a big way. And their pitching comes with a lot of wild cards. And I think that's where a lot of the projections are coming from, because I don't think that can be debated. They're going to hit, they're going to mash, and they're going to put runs on the board. There's no doubt about that. But when it comes down to outside of Giolito and Keuchel, knowing what you're getting from the rest of the rotation is a huge wild card. And I think that's where the projections are coming from. I think a lot of Sox fans are banking on the fact that Kopech is going to be the guy they traded for. If Ronaldo Lopez can develop a little bit, he can be a very useful back of the rotation 4 or 5 starter. But yeah, there's just wild cards there, and starting pitching is such a huge part of the sport that I think the projections are actually not giving them the benefit of the doubt. I would give them a benefit of the doubt. I think they have the most talented roster in the division on paper. I think they tasted success in a big way last year and overperformed. And a lot like the Cubs in 2015, when a lot of people didn't expect them to do anything and they made it all the way to the NLCS, the Cubs were able to build off that the following year and make a World Series run. I'd say that I would expect the White Sox to make a pretty deep playoff run. If you were to put a gun to my head and ask me to make a prediction, I think they're going to make a deep playoff run.
So I'm gonna say one more question on the White Sox before we jump onto the Cubs fiasco, and that's the best way to put it, in my opinion. What do you think about the acquisition of Liam Hendricks and how much that's going to help to solidify that bullpen.
Yeah,
Their
their
bullpen was
bullpen's
already
great.
their
Their
bullpen,
bullpen's great.
but
They're with Crochet, some of these other power arms. I mean, their bullpen's not a problem, and I do get. I mean, if they try to play like the Rays, that might work a little bit if they're shortening games with the bullpen that they have. If that's the plan, and I mean, they have the manager to do it because Tony La Russa kind of was the guy that started this whole mix and match thing years ago before the analytics train really jumped on board with it. So I think that could end up being a saving grace for them. And the other part that's not getting talked about now is, Jerry brought his friend in, and say whatever you want to say. We had a show on that about that discussion. Tony La Russa is still a good baseball mind. And I think it's obvious that Jerry is all in on taking this roster and giving them a chance to win a World Series. So I think you can't discredit the trade deadline, especially in baseball, and how important that is. So I think Han is going to evaluate the roster heavily up until the trade deadline. And if they're a number one and number two starter away, or maybe a couple of back end starters away, they're going to go get what they need to get. I fully expect that. That's why I think they're going to overperform their projections.
fair enough.
Is there a move, Eric, that you wanted them to make in the offseason? I totally agree that trade deadline honestly might be more important because they didn't get a full season last year to evaluate what they have in front of them. They have guys coming back, so they need to see that as well. But was there somebody sitting out there that you wanted Chicago to bring in?
I mean, for me, I think that was the one thing this offseason that was a little bit of befuddling. And I know a lot of people were expecting them to spend more, and maybe COVID did have something to do with it. But yeah, you know what? They've traded with the Cubs before. Go get Darvish. I think that there were some guys out there that really could have solidified the top of their rotation to get a power arm. It was obvious. The Padres were pretty aggressive. There were a couple of teams that were all in. The Blue Jays were pretty aggressive. I mean, the fact that the Sox didn't take a bigger swing to get a guy like a George Springer or go after a Yu Darvish or to pluck somebody that could really be a huge difference maker for what they have. Yeah, I was a little bit surprised by that, but that's Jerry's track record, man. Like, Jerry doesn't spend. He wouldn't go all in for Manny Machado. Like, he doesn't allow Han to open up the checkbook, it seems like, when he needs to. But like I said, at the end of the day, I think if they can get a cost-controlled guy or maybe a younger guy at the deadline, they have to give up a boat. Them a better chance to win the World Series. I think they're going to go after and get it for sure. For sure.
Fair enough. So now I'm going to go to the north side. And this is the team that you and I are both fans of, and we've been fans of this team forever. Their projected lineup, and I'm going to give it to you right now. And honestly, it's all guys that are hitting the age around like their prime. Ian Happ leading off, Anthony Rizzo, Chris Bryant, Wilson Contreras, Javier Baez, Jock Peterson, which question mark, I don't know. Interesting. Yeah. Nico Horner, Jason Hayward. It's all names that we're familiar with, all names that we know. And I made the comment to you before, and we've talked about this also, that they're all similar in their hitting styles. When they're on, they're on. What are your thoughts, though, on this team going into this upcoming year? Do you think that lineup can provide the cushion that will be needed because of this pitching rotation?
So here's what I think. I think if we weren't in the midst of a pandemic and the market was more robust than it is, I think they would have torn the thing down, to be perfectly honest with you. But I think that you offloaded Darvish, and you got to return that. I think a lot of people thought was underwhelming compared to where he has performed and what he is in today's day. But I think it was no secret that Hoyer was also shopping guys like Chris Bryant, Wilson Contreras. Those guys were out there. And all the high-end, Ken Rosenthal, all the high-end reporters were saying those guys are out there to be had. And I think what Hoyer did was he took an evaluation. He looked at this thing and was like, dude, a 22-year-old just got a $340 million contract. Like, the game has changed. These prospects are gold. They are the commodities to the teams. So in the day of finances where, these teams don't have revenue coming in for merchandise, for concessions, for ticket sales, I mean, they're holding on to these guys even tighter than they would have been. So I think what Hoyer did was he took a look at the landscape and he said, what is my best option? Taking 50, 40, 30 cents on the dollar for guys that in a better market would produce a bigger return, or just try to run it back and then let their contracts expire. And maybe somebody does have a career year out of this, like Baez comes back to his mean. I mean, analytics plays a role. You could say Brian's been a 900 OPS guy until he got hurt. For 18 months, he's been really bad. But there's nothing about the course of Chris Bryant's career that tells me he's not going to be a 900 OPS guy again at some point. Mm-hmm. Whether or not the Cubs are willing to pay him $300 million, that's something to be hold. But if they got a bunch of expiring contracts and they let Javi walk and they let Rizzo walk, they let some of these guys go, then maybe you do re-sign Bryant and you try to rebuild around that. I don't know, but I think Cubs are getting a lot of flack, and I think in some terms rightfully so. But what I appreciate, and I think maybe MJ could relate to this, when you have a world-class organization like the Packers, they're a world-class organization. They come in, they have a plan, and they execute those plans to the best of their ability. Theo came in with a plan. In 6 years, we made the playoffs 5 times. We won 3 division titles. We got our World Series. That's a huge deal in the Cubs' lifespan, man. To do that in 6 years is a huge deal. Right. And if you look at it from the business side of things, which you can't discount business in sports. Tom Ricketts looked at this thing and said, I've got a hotshot GM who's acquiring all this young talent, and all these guys are on rookie scale deals. And at the worst, they're going to hit arbitration and they might make 18, 19, $20 million. That's still, Chris Bryant's making less than Fernando Tatis Jr. right now. Right. And Tatis Jr. Honestly doesn't have the resume yet that Chris Bryant does, right? But he looked at this and was like, okay, we have a very cost-controlled ball club for what we are. Yeah, they spent for Lester. They spent for Hayward. They went after Darvish. They spent on him. But the core was very cost-controlled. And what did he say he was going to do? Well, we need to upgrade our infrastructure because our infrastructure sucks. So what a lot of people don't talk about is with this timeline, the way that it was supposed to line up was he was buying bars and buildings and city blocks and redoing clubhouses and upgrading concourse. So he was spending a lot of money that could have been allocated towards payroll into a facility that was a dying facility that badly needed these upgrades. So it doesn't surprise me that we get to the point where the disappointments and expectations, people wish they would have won one more. I wish they would have won one more, but they didn't. I wish they would have made one more, but they didn't. But in the reality, my lifespan as a Cubs fan, this has been the best 6-year period that I have ever seen in my life. And I do give some people grace because it is a decision-making industry, and you're not going to make decisions right 100% of the time. They might not got that second World Series, but they ran into a situation with COVID and everything else where it's like, these players are underperforming. What are we supposed to do? True. And I think, again, I wouldn't have taken 30 cents on the dollar. I would have tried to take the roster and been like, yeah, let's run it back because the division's weak. And if you make the playoffs in baseball, who knows what can happen, right? We've seen an 83-win Cardinals team win a World Series.
True.
So I kind of don't blame them for saying, well, let's hope these guys play up to their abilities. There was only one major move in the division. Nolan Arenado went to the Cardinals. Cardinals still don't scare me or anybody else. Milwaukee doesn't scare me or anybody else. The Cubs probably don't scare very many people. It's a division up for grabs. So I think Hoyer looked at it as like, well, let's try to make our 6th postseason appearance in 7 years and see what happens. That's baseball. I kind of don't blame him.
So I'm gonna touch one more thing on this too, if you don't mind. What do you think about Hoyer coming out talking, already naming Kimbrel the closer for the Cubs? Do you think it's appropriate for the GM to come out and say that, or do you think it's more of a something that the manager should be doing instead of that?
Yeah, that's a good point. The Cubs, their whole leadership model is based off synergy. So my expectation would be Jed Hoyer wouldn't say anything that was not communicated with David Ross first, collaborated with him first, and they would be on the same page. So when he says that, I don't feel like David Ross is feeling undermined in any sense of the word. And again, I think that just speaks to a team that's trying to project itself and say, we're all in. We paid for a guy like Kimbrel. for a specific role. We're going all in. We're just going to try to win this division, do one last run with this core, and call it a day. And if it turns into a dumpster fire, all the contracts expire and we're rebuilding.
It's the Chicago Bears.
Don't make no. I would not make that comparison only because to Eric's point, what the Cubs did, I really liked his point about upgrading the facilities and all of that, because for a lot of years the Chicago Cubs were not a free agent destination, and neither were the White Sox. And part of that, whether you like it or not, is the facilities. That's somewhere that these guys got to spend if you're a big free agent 5, 6, 7 years. So upgrading the life around it, making it more exciting, making the facilities better, that really is a business decision in two ways. Not only does it help you bring in more fans, bring in more revenue in that way, but also, I mean, there's a reason nobody wants to go to Oakland. Not only is it just not a place where you're going to get paid, but the clubhouse is like flood every other day with sewage. So like that's part of it. And I really liked that point. But to compare them to the Bears, Bruce, no. The Bears who wanted to.
Yakri, here we come.
Yeah.
That's the Bears. Yeah, I don't see the Cubs in the same limelight as that. Not at all.
No, because the Cubs are in a position now where most likely, if they wanted to, they could just go buy a bunch of guys. If they really wanted to. They are in that place right now where they're a place where players would go. And as long as they have a couple of young guys, and I trust their player development system. I didn't before, but I do now. I think they're to a place where they can always have a couple good young guys coming up, and whenever they want to, they can go buy.
Well, when Theo came in, I completely changed everything.
Well, and again, speaking to like from the top down, right? Like when Ricketts took over, he made it a point and said, "Listen, I'm going to hire one of the best baseball minds, and we're going to care about the product first." He did the product first. And then when things started going well, he's like, okay, well, I'm going to spend my money elsewhere because we got a window here to do this, and I'm going to put a little bit of a cap on it. But to MJ's point, like when you do stuff like that, I constantly go back to these organizations like the Packers, like Lambeau Field, game days. That's a parking lot, family, everybody in the town is getting together. There's an atmosphere there.
There's a culture that's created by it.
And Wrigleyville has always had a bar culture, but if you look at what the Ricketts have done with the family-friendly infield on the outside of the stadium,
on the outside, it's beautiful.
It's just a completely different feel than it ever was before, and that was money invested back into the product. So for me, I fully expect him when things get rolling again. To MJ's point, and you know, the finances are stable because fans are coming back on a consistent basis and we're out of this. He's gonna open his checkbook. I mean, he kept Jed Hoyer for a reason. He's a disciple of Theo. That's what these good organizations do. They're eventually going to go. I don't ever see them as somebody who's gonna have a 5 to 10 year period where they're just god awful.
No.
Because they can't get this right, or they have an owner unwilling to spend money. Ricketts has spent a lot of money in a lot of areas. People don't give him credit for it because they want to see World Series titles. That's, the curse of being a fan. But at the end of the day, I think they've done a really good job overhauling this thing. Man. And I think the future's still bright. It's bright.
100%. And to go back to what you were talking about the facilities around the area, he spent a lot of money turning not only the team from a fan perspective into something we all have never seen before and may not see again, but also the areas around it is just absolutely gorgeous. So I agree with that. I think that's a great point that you made.
Yeah, it's interesting. We got to figure out how to transition, right? I was listening to the radio last week, and they had a really interesting interview with Ken Harlan, the guy who does TNT, TBS, big time broadcaster, right? And I didn't know this, but he was telling a story about how his dad was the head chair for the Green Bay Packers.
Yep.
And his dad was actually the one who signed off to allow Ted Thompson to draft Aaron Rodgers, because Aaron Rodgers had to run that, or Ted Thompson had to run that through his dad. Yep. And then also had to sign off when Ted Thompson decided to trade Brett Favre away.
Yep.
Which these are huge decisions, right? And the Packers had the 1 year, what was it? Like Favre got hurt, Aaron Rodgers came in.
Aaron Rodgers, so the first season that that Favre was gone. They traded him before the 2008 season, and I want to say they went 6-10 in Rodgers' first season.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly. Right. Exactly. But they transitioned well
Yeah.
because they have good leadership and they know what they're doing and they're willing to make hard decisions. And
It's a structure and a system that's
it's
in
all
place.
structure.
It's a structure and a system that they have in place that is, and I don't know, it doesn't have, it has fail safes. That's probably the best way to put it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does.
And
Dude, if the Tribune Company still owned the Cubs, I'd be freaking out right now. If
Right.
the Tribune Company owned the
Yes,
Cubs,
it's so true.
I'd be
We
like,
lived through that. We lived through
it's
that.
a disaster for 95 years. Like,
Yes.
that's how I feel with Jerry Reinsdorf owning the Bulls and the White Sox. I don't think he's good enough in that position to create sustained winners if he doesn't draft Michael Jordan. Because the only sustained winner he's ever had from an organizational standpoint is when he had Michael Jordan. Like, I just don't think he's a very good owner, and I don't think operationally they haven't earned my trust. I don't trust what the Bears are doing. They haven't earned my trust. Like, to be consistently great, it always starts at the top. And I think the Cubs have gotten it right at the top. So that's why I feel okay with where they're at.
I think that exactly. I agree.
So Eric, somebody asked in the chat, what is the Bears system?
Oh, it's a disaster. I mean,
I just said it too.
It's a literal disaster. I mean, it's even going through this Carson Wentz thing. I mean, they're trying to stopgap for 1 year. I hope they can all save their jobs because this thing is just. It's hard to put into words how much of a clown college this thing has become. And it all starts with George McCaskey keeping Ted Thompson, who's a glorified accountant. He's got no working history in the NFL, no personal decisions, nothing. He was a glorified accountant. He's there to manage the books and to make sure the revenue is coming in. That's the perfect example of business taking over and them not running the organization properly. He doesn't know anything about football, and they bring in a GM who supposedly was coming from a world-class organization, and the GM has shown to be average at best. And if you don't get the quarterback position right, you can't win in the NFL, and they can't get the quarterback position right. So it starts with the McCaskies.
I agree.
Fire Ted Thompson. Bring in an actual president of football operations and let him do his job. Like when you hired Theo to be president of the organization. Ricketts, get out of the way. McCaskey, get out of the way and let a football guy run the operations from the top down.
It's Ted Phillips, by the way, buddy.
Sorry, Ted Phillips. Yeah,
I know. It's like
McCaskey, get a president, an actual president, and McCaskey, get out of the way.
Dude, this is great because it's nice to see somebody else go on the rant about the Bears aside from me. So this is good. I love it.
It's maddening. It's maddening to be a fan right now.
Hey, so
we're gonna end up with Sam Darnold, or we're gonna end up with somebody, and it's
you could draft like a Mac Jones.
I would love to.
And you know what? And I feel that way, but then MJ, like,
you'd ruin him, but you could try it.
What are they gonna do? Because Pace and Nagy got to save their jobs, so like they're not gonna start.
They can't go and be like, oh, we're gonna draft Mac Jones. Give us 4 more years. No, they have to go make a splash.
They have to get somebody who's. They're going to get somebody like Sam Darnold or Jameis Winston or somebody, and hope they catch lightning in a bottle. It's what's going to be.
I would love to see Jameis Winston in a Bears uniform. That nothing would make me happy. You know how many interceptions Jair Alexander would have?
Oh, I know.
Still with them crab legs.
Yeah, I know.
Dubs.
It's
Eric, my last question for you is 2021 World Series champion. Who will it be?
Oh, let's go.
LA Dodgers. Dodgers. I mean,
repeat?
Yeah, man. They added Darvish to that rotation. That team is just, it's been stacked for almost a decade, and they just keep reloading. And I'm not picking against the Dodgers.
No.
I like it.
What about you? What about you guys? What do you guys got?
Ooh, I haven't even looked at anything
I can't pick against the Dodgers either. It's ridiculous.
Okay, so as you said earlier, gun to my head, Dodgers.
Right.
If I had to put if I'm putting my house on like the betting block for it, I'm just gonna say Dodgers because I don't want to lose.
Unless something drastic happens that we don't know about.
Yeah, exactly. A major injury, right?
Yeah.
Right.
Even then, they have the talent to sustain a major injury.
Yeah, they're
ridiculous.
so,
They're so deep and they're so nasty, and like
They have
that
3 MVPs.
that ownership group that they put together there has like they make money there
again. And they hired the guy out of Tampa Bay who was working with Joe Madden, who started that whole Tampa thing. And they took that guy and they gave him the biggest payroll in the sport, the biggest budget, and said, do what you do and do it well. And they've been a perennial contender for a decade. And I don't see that changing. I don't see how anybody in the NL gets past them.
Last question. Somebody says, who will the Dodgers play? They have to sweep somebody from the American League.
That's right.
That's a great point. Oof. I'm going to say...
I'll give mine. I want to say Blue Jays.
Oh, yeah, that's not bad, actually.
I really like what they've done. Their infield is going to be incredible.
I mean, their young guys are good.
Yeah, they're really young. I don't know if they'll be able to pull it off.
Who do they got? They got Biggio, right? The younger Biggio. They got the younger Vlad.
And then they got
the younger Bichette.
Yeah.
And that younger Vlad, dude, he's lost so much.
They got George Springer.
Looks like a beast.
Yeah, no, that team's gonna be really good. But then again, I mean, they're in the East, so you think Tampa's gonna regress because that was the team.
Right, that's who I was thinking.
And then the Yankees went out and didn't they get somebody to spear? They got somebody for the rotation, did they not? They obviously have Garrett Cole, but I thought the Yankees made a splash this year.
Did they just get somebody back from? I think they got someone back from the suspension.
Did they? I mean,
because Manaka.
They got Garrett Cole, Severino, Kluber.
Okay, Kluber is but that's that doesn't do.
They're basically the same.
Jameson, Taylor.
I mean, don't get me wrong. If
Jameson Taillon, they traded for Jameson.
If they can keep Stanton and Judge healthy, then they scare me. Yeah. But like,
let's not forget the Twins.
No, stop.
I'm gonna say
I have a hard time because they just can't win postseason games.
True.
So I struggle with them.
Was it 22? Is it 22 straight they've lost? A ridiculous number.
Yeah.
But
I mean, dude, just talking through this, man, I really do think the White Sox are a top 3 or top 5.
Yeah, they have to
in the AL.
Oh yeah.
Right.
I'll say top 3.
Right? Because does anybody in the AL? Nobody in the AL West scares you, right? Because Rangers aren't good. Seattle's not very good.
No, I think the A's will win the division, but they're not going to win a playoff series.
Yeah, exactly. The A's will probably win that division. Yeah, I think I agree. I think the White Sox are probably one of the top 3 favorites in the American League with the.
They're just not very good. Red Sox aren't very good. Yeah.
I don't know. I said Blue Jays to be crazy. That's all I got.
Love it.
I'll say Twins just because I want to be that guy.
All right, great. Then I'm going to make my official pick, and I'm going to say Yankees because to MJ's point, I think they're going to get it right one year with this Murderers Row thing.
That's another team that you used to love, bro. Come on.
Hey, I will say, yes, my dad grew up in Long Island, New York, so there might be a bias there, but they're due, man. They haven't won a World Series in, 20 years? It's been a long time.
2009. 2009.
Was it 09?
Okay, so that's a long time for the Yankees.
Yeah,
that's awesome. Well, good deal, man.
Yeah. Eric, thank you very much for taking some time out of work to come talk to us.
Thanks for having me, guys. I appreciate it.
Absolutely.
I might be on later, play some COD.
Do it.
All right, bro.
Sounds good. Talk to you later.
All right, see you guys.
See you, buddy.
There we go. No, I don't want to report Eric. I just wanted him to lead the meeting.
Ooh, yeah, don't report the poor guy. He didn't do anything wrong.
I just wanted him to lead my meeting.
He just gave us some expert Chicago baseball analysis and some interesting thoughts about the Clown College Chicago Bears.
You right. So, Bruce, do you want to talk about what Draymond said before we hop off?
Oh, goodness. Wow. We didn't even get to that in our first segment.
Did not. Would
yes,
you like to
please.
talk about that real quick?
Yeah, we can make a. Do you want to show the viewing audience what he said?
Yeah. So we're gonna play. It's about a 2.5-minute clip of a Draymond Green interview. Bruce and I will do our best to shut up while it is playing, so y'all can hear that. And then Bruce has some things to say about that afterwards, and I do as well.
I'll be quick.
I would like to talk about something that's really bothering me, and It's the treatment of players in this league. To watch Andre Drummond before the game sit on the sideline, then go to the back, and then come out in street clothes because a team is going to trade him. Because when James Harden asked for a trade and essentially dogged it, I don't think there was no surprise or there's no one's going to fight back that James was dogging it his last days in Houston. But he was castrated for wanting to go to a different team, and everybody destroyed that man. And yet a team can come out and say, oh, we want to trade a guy, and then that guy is to go sit. And if he doesn't stay professional, then he's a cancer, and he's not good in someone's locker room, and he's the issue. And we've seen situations of Harrison Barnes getting pulled off the bench. DeMarcus Cousins finding out that he's traded in an interview after the All-Star game. And we continue to let this happen. But I got fined for stating my opinion of what I thought should happen with another player. But teams can come out and continue to say, oh, we're trading guys, we're not playing you. And yet we're to stay professional. At some point, as players, we need to be treated with the same respect and have the same rights that the team can have. Because as a player, you're the worst person in the world when you want a different situation. But a team can say they're trading you, and that man is to stay in shape. He is to stay professional. And if not, his career is on the line. At some point, this league has to protect the players from embarrassment like that. We talk all of this stuff about you can't do this, you can't say that publicly. If you say that publicly, you're fine. Anthony Davis got fined, I think, $100,000 or something like that for demanding a trade publicly. But you can say Andre Drummond is getting traded publicly, and we're looking to trade him publicly, and he's to stay professional and just deal with it. But then when Kyrie Irving say, oh, my mental health is off, everybody go crazy about that too. Do you not think that affects someone mentally? As much as we put into this game to be great, to come out here and be in shape, to produce for fans every single night, and most importantly, to help your team win, do you think that doesn't affect someone mentally? But as players, we're told to, no, you can't say that, you can't say this, but teams can. It goes along the same lines of when everyone wants to say, oh, man, that young guy can't figure it out. But no one wants to say the organization can't figure it out. At some point, the players must be respected in these situations, and it's ridiculous, and I'm sick of seeing it. Y'all have a great night. I'll see y'all tomorrow or Wednesday.
I also think that both sides are right. And by saying that, I also think that from an organizational standpoint, these players are investments that teams make in their players. And I don't want that to come off as rude or what's the
I know
word?
what you mean.
Right. I don't want that to come off as rude, and I don't want that to come off as just a stupid statement. But they are investments, and if those players aren't taking care of their bodies, if they're not doing the right thing on a Friday night, if they're doing stupid things, that investment is bad for that organization, and you can't have that either. So and you don't want them to get hurt. So to the point that that the Pistons are in right now, or to the situation that the Pistons are currently in, you understand it, because right now he's at a level of, I don't want to say, how do I want to say, he's able to get enough attraction from other teams and enough assets from other teams, and it's at its peak right now. So why play him?
They want to keep him healthy, make sure that they can get the deal done.
They want to maximize the potential return for their investment. And as bad as that sounds, that's how it is. That's how professional sports are.
It's a business.
Exactly. And we alluded to it earlier. But don't get me wrong, I also love the fact that Draymond Green said what he said about the situation with Andre Drummond. I think it's awesome. And I think that more players should be more vocal about it too. If you think something's wrong, say something's wrong. Like, put it out there. But you can't be mad at an organization for also saying, shut the hell up. We put you in this position for a reason. We want to maximize our ability as well as yours. So it's not really shut the hell up. It's just more along the lines of both sides, in my opinion, have their points and have their rights. And I do side more with the players, but I also see the thought that is going into it with the organization as well.
The only place where I have an issue with it from the player's perspective, and this doesn't apply to Andre Drummond, this applies to, I would say this applies more to like James Harden, those type of situations. When you demand a trade from somewhere just because you aren't winning, I don't like that. I understand it 100%. I know where they're coming from, but I don't like it. You alluded to this earlier. If you're James Harden, you signed a contract. You said, I'm going to play with the Houston Rockets for this many years, for this many $1 million. Unless there is some fundamental man-to-man issue that James Harden had with somebody in that organization that made it so that he could not do his job, or that he could not stay mentally fit, or something along those lines, in Houston, man up, suffer through it. Because while it does make the NBA slightly more exciting to some extent, Houston, because of this issue specifically, has now lost a star in each one of their sports. Yep. They're about to lose Deshaun Watson. They just lost James Harden. They've lost some guys off of the Astros who didn't think they had the best chance to win anymore, so they just left. Right? I think that is a fundamental issue. And unless you have a real problem that like threatens your well-being, I don't like it. And somebody asked, same as Matthew Stafford. Honestly, yes. Yeah. I understand. Again, I totally understand why Stafford wanted to leave. He wasn't winning. The Lions didn't put him in a good situation. But he's been in Detroit the entire time. His family, like, unless your family has some issue or something like that. His family's been in Detroit the whole time. As far as I know, there's no issue with Matthew Stafford's family staying in Detroit. There was no issue with Stafford in the front office or anything like that. He just wanted out. Well, if you want out, that's why free agency was created. You don't just get to randomly decide. I mean, there was a time when you never got to get out. You got drafted to a team, you were there the entire time. That's why they created free agency. What are we going to do now? Only 1-year deals?
It's gotten to the point now, though, and it's we've seen it in the NBA already. I think it's starting to make that shift in the NFL.
Yep.
It's a players' league. It's 100% a players' league. That's the reason why you see Anthony Davis taking a 1-year type deal, 1 year with a 2-year option, or LeBron James, 1 year, 2-year option. That's because they want to control the outcome. They want to control what they can. And you don't see long-term contracts unless it's a super max deal and they are happy and there is a situation. And as much crap as you give to the Mavericks, their organization does a really good job with keeping their players happy.
Yep.
And
I don't give crap to the Mavericks. I give crap to Luka. Get it right.
fair.
And
That's
even
fair.
then, I'm not like I don't deny that he's a top 10 player. I just, you know,
Yeah. Okay.
MVP, top 10
Okay.
player, sure, I don't care. That works.
Fine. But in any case, though, I just think that we are seeing a shift in the culture with regarding to the players having the say in where they go, what happens, and why it happens. And it's happening, and you're seeing it in the NFL. You are, and I think that you're going to get a whole bunch of jackass owners that are going to fight and do whatever they can to get Roger Goodell up their ass to help them out with it. And I'm sorry, it's not going to mean a damn bit of difference because your players are what bring people to the stands and what brings us to say stupid shit, need to buy things like this, and so on and so forth.
And the last thing I'll say on this before we should probably hop off is the thing that really bothers me is that a player can just up and decide one day that they want to leave. They may have their reasons. In my opinion, if you're going to screw over an organization, because let's be honest, the Houston Texans are not going to be the same for the next 10 plus years, most likely, unless they get really lucky with one of their draft picks, a la Chiefs finding Mahomes in the middle of the first round, something like that. Unless the Texans get that lucky, they're not going to be the same for a long time because of Deshaun Watson deciding he was ready to go. And this applies to Watson. This applies. I mean, I don't think Stafford is the same type of player, but if he were that level, it would be the same concept, right? So, in my opinion, I think that the player should have to come out and publicly say something. Now, obviously, you can't make a rule like that, but for a player to behind closed doors demand a trade, not say anything to the public until afterwards when it's already said and done. Oh, thank you. You were a great fan base, yada yada. I think, in my opinion, the Deshaun Watson, the Matthew Stafford, the even Anthony Davis when he requested out of the Pelicans, right? If Luka were to request out of the Mavericks, you know, if you want out, tell us you want out. Tell the fans, be a man, own up to it, and tell us
Wow.
that you want
You got
out.
to be a man.
Yeah.
Be a man.
Because doing it behind closed doors, leaking it to Woj or Shams or Ken Rosenthal or Ian Rappaport, that's BS. Okay? They're letting the media do it for them. They're letting the media do the work of getting them out of the position they want to be. You know what? Deshaun Watson accepted money 6 months ago from the Houston Texans, and all of a sudden he wants out? Give me a break.
It's easier that way.
Well, yeah, of course it's easier that way. But you know what, Bruce? Sometimes life isn't easy.
No shit. No shit. I'd be up in a freaking like less than like 8 hours. Believe me, it's.
Yep. It's a good time.
But,
Well,
but
Bruce,
yeah, man.
last words. What do you got for me?
What do I got? Got some more T-shirts. We still got some of these bad boys. New logo coming. Some more surprises. Some more fun. Have something in the works possibly. I still have to make a phone call and see what happens. I'll fill you in on that later.
Sweet.
But another great show, Eric. Thanks for dropping in, brother. As always, your knowledge of sport always impresses me.
Yes.
And my pea brain. MJ, congratulations to you and
Thank
the
you.
Primetime Sports. And don't be surprised if I end up jumping on some of those shows.
I love it. Sounds good. Folks, we'll talk to you later. Another show coming next Thursday. Hopefully we have a big guest coming soon. We'll
Yes,
fill
sir.
you in on that as that news becomes official. So have a good weekend. Have some fun, and we'll be back next Thursday.
Enjoy, guys. Peace.